It's been almost 3 weeks since 3 officers and a K-9 were gunned down in an ambush in Floyd County. Today, Kentucky lawmakers heard more about the violence as officers were trying to serve domestic violence papers on a man. One of the men who was at that meeting in Frankfort was injured in the shooting. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more on what was said.
A warlike scene was described for Kentucky lawmakers Wednesday, yet they were told the officers never backed down while trying to respond to a barricaded man firing multiple shots at them.
Knew what they were going into, the potential of what they were going into. Ralph and Jake knew exactly what they were in the middle of, and they were okay doing what they did.
3 officers and a K-9 were killed. Others are still recovering from injuries. Gary Wolf suffered an eye injury.
There was city police coming in behind me, and all I can say is we thought the ones that was lucky to stay alive was lucky.
Special tribute was paid to Captain Ralph Frazier, Deputy William Petrie, Officer Jacob Chaffins, and Drago.
Because it's not just healing, it's healing and solidifying what exactly they did that day.
It's because men and women that have the servant's heart that does the job of law enforcement.
Officers say the Floyd County community will never be the same because of who was lost and survived.
There's a lot of heroes in this, even, not just the ones that died are heroes. There was a lot of heroes that day.
They say they find comfort in not just the fact that they responded, but in the selfless acts in how they never back down. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Lance Storrs, the suspect, is facing multiple charges from the ambush and is in jail waiting for his next court appearance. Monday's undercover drug buy that led to a hostage situation at a Laurel County gas station has led to 5 arrests and a bust the sheriff's office calls the largest in Laurel County's history. Laurel County deputies arrested Justin Cooper, Travis Jefferson, and Christopher Brown. They say they also found more than 1 pound of meth and several hundred fentanyl pills. In Lexington, 2 arrests were made at a home on Cambridge Drive in connection to the case. Arianda Lemus Fuentes of Lexington and Mexican national Jose Alberto Valles Espinoza were arrested. Police say they found nearly 44 pounds of meth there, as well as nearly 5 pounds of cocaine and 19,000 dosage units of fentanyl inside the home. All 5 suspects are facing multiple state and federal charges.
Continuing to watch the potential for strong to severe storms as we head later on into tonight. The very latest is the storms haven't formed yet. We're still keeping an eye on those as we head through the evening hours. I-75 in London, traffic getting a little heavier as you'd expect in the middle of the evening rush there just past 6 o'clock. Temperatures remain very warm. Upper 80s and low 90s all around the region. Wise the only exception. They're in the upper 70s, but they're usually cooler there at Lonesome Pine Airport. Dew points in the low to middle 70s. Even a dew point in Monticello of 80. That is just oppressive. Feels close to 110 there. Pinpoint Dopplers all quiet right now, but we continue to watch potential development into southern Indiana. That would eventually move into our direction as that front begins to move in later tonight. And that's what could bring us the possibility, at least the chance, for some strong to severe storms around the mountains. Level 2 threat in our northern counties. The level 1 threat continues across the rest of the area. I'll have the very latest on when we could see those storms, the latest timing, and what we could see as those storms move through coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. The heat is on here in the mountains and around the world, but first responders are reminding folks to stay safe while outside. WYMT's Jordan Mullins spoke to officials with the Pikeville Fire Department about some tips to stay safe in the sweltering heat.
With heat indexes nearing triple digits in much of the region, first responders are reminding folks to stay cool and stay safe.
Make a plan for your day if you're going to be out working in that environment, to take regular breaks, to hydrate throughout the day.
They say knowing your limits while out and about in the summer heat is important, especially if you have pre-existing medical conditions.
If you already have medical conditions, you're more susceptible to those heat-related illnesses. and you need to be aware of that and kind of take more breaks and maybe even have someone to keep an eye on you, because sometimes we don't know our own limits and we need somebody to check on us.
They add to pay extra mind to children or seniors, as they are more sensitive to high temperatures.
Young children or the elderly, their body can't compensate as well. So just keep that in mind and do check on them regularly. We don't want to leave them out in these hot environments. Just because we're doing okay doesn't mean that they are.
Familiarize yourself with the symptoms of heat exhaustion versus heat stroke, and know when it is time for a break and when to call 911.
If you are by yourself and you're still coherent, go ahead and get immediately to a cool environment. You can, of course, then call 911 for additional assistance. If you feel like you're just in a heat exhaustion state, you can just stay in that cool environment and hydrate until those symptoms go away.
Preventing heat-related emergencies by planning your day, hydrating accordingly, and staying cool. In Pikeville, Jordan Mullins, WYMT Mountain News.
Pikeville Fire Department Public Information Officer Nicholas Fleming also said that you should never leave children or pets in cars, even for a short period of time, without leaving the car running with the AC on. The Whitley County Sheriff's Office issued a golden alert for a missing woman who they say has mental and physical disabilities. Amanda Jean Campbell, who deputies say also goes by Moon Pie, was reported missing on July 18th. They say she was wearing a yellow MASH t-shirt and black pants and was last seen in the Parkers Lake community of McCreary County. If you have any information, you're asked to call Whitley County Dispatch at 606-549-6017. The wait is officially over for many eastern Kentuckians as the final segment of Kentucky Highway 30 in Jackson County is complete. To celebrate a project more than 2 decades in the making, Governor Andy Beshear gathered with state and local leaders for a ribbon-cutting ceremony in Tyner, recognizing Highway 30's recent completion. The project is the final piece in strengthening the curvy 37-mile corridor.
It's incredible. Kentucky 30 is going to open up 3 separate counties for more economic development. It will cut the drive to the closest hospital from 90 to 45 minutes, saving lives. Going to provide more opportunities for quality of living for so many of our Kentucky residents.
During the ribbon cutting, a section of the highway was dedicated to former Kentucky Representative Marie Rader, who played a large role in this project through the years. We'll have more about it tonight at 11. As abortion rights advocates continue to protest the Supreme Court's overturning of Roe v. Wade, the LGBTQ community is pushing Congress to uphold marriage equality. Following the Roe v. Wade ruling, Justice Clarence Thomas suggested that decisions involving same-sex marriage and access to contraception should also be reconsidered. Yesterday, the House passed the Respect for Marriage Act, which would secure federal protections for same-sex and interracial couples. 47 Republicans joined every Democrat in support, but every Kentucky Republican voted against the act.
These congressional representatives represent LGBTQ people in every corner of our Commonwealth. And to take the vote that they did yesterday to disrespect all of those LGBTQ people, their families, these are voters who are taking note, and I'd say beware.
The Respect for Marriage Act now heads to the Senate, and Hartman says he hopes it passes. When explaining his opposition to the measure, Representative Andy Barr released a statement saying, quote, "This bill is a gratuitous and politically motivated measure that is no way needed to protect or preserve the legal status conferred to certain same-sex couples in Obergefell versus Hodges." The Appalachian Center for the Arts in Pikeville is hosting its second art and music event all about creative women. WYMT's Buddy Forbes spoke to organizers who are encouraging people around the region to gather for the girls.
Mountain Girl is growing.
If you were here last year, you will see that we've expanded greatly from our first year.
The Mountain Girl experience is on deck for this weekend, shining a light on the ladies who call the mountains home and the little pieces that make them who they are.
You know, this is an event to celebrate the artistry and creativity and resilience and perseverance of Appalachian women.
Bringing families to Pikeville's downtown streets for 2 days of fun and festivities with female empowerment in full force.
This really is an event that is for everyone. We call it the Mountain Girl Experience because we're here to celebrate the artistry and the creativity of all of our Appalachian women in this area, but let's all celebrate that.
With the art, music, and educational workshops provided, organizers say it is more than an event. It is an experience.
Appalachians in general, all of us, can be stereotyped. Women can be stereotyped. And we want to, break all of those barriers.
Coming together to tear down the walls.
Celebrate the good that we have here in this area and, create discussions and dialogue and uplift each other in a really safe and supportive environment.
And build up the women. In Pikeville, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, the weekend is about more than celebration. It's also about safety. Proceeds from the event will be given to the WestCare Perry Klein Emergency Shelter and Turning Point, Kentucky, to help fund efforts to protect and care for women in the region.
Well, coming up, after storms move out later tonight, the heat is on as we get closer to the weekend. The very latest is coming up next.
2 national champion archers are making their mark back home in the mountains, working to help grow the sport and help other mountain archers shoot for the stars.